Chairman of the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria and Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Adebo Ogundoyin, has called on the Nigeria Governors Forum to support legislative autonomy and broader governance reforms. He made the appeal during a meeting with NGF Chairman and Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrasaq in Ilorin. Ogundoyin said the Speakers' Conference is advocating reforms aimed at strengthening state legislatures through autonomy, public accountability, intergovernmental cooperation, and capacity building. Ogundoyin emphasized the importance of synergy between governors and the state assemblies, noting that collaboration is essential to achieving meaningful institutional changes. We are committed to repositioning state assemblies to be more impactful and responsive to the needs of our people, he stated. He also highlighted that conventional efforts have not delivered the desired results, making the partnership with governors even more critical. The speaker further stressed the need for alignment between the Nigerian Governors Forum and the Conference of Speakers in the ongoing constitutional amendment process. He urged governors to support key proposals such as the devolution of power, fiscal federalism, and the establishment of state policing. According to him, these reforms are vital for strengthening Nigeria's federal structure and ensuring a more accountable and effective system of governance. In response, Governor Abdulrasaq reaffirmed the Nigerian Governors Forum's commitment to democratic reforms and strengthening of state institutions. He also met with the Speaker of the Kwara State House of Assembly, Yakubu Danladi Salihu, to discuss legislative priorities and enhance collaboration between legislative arms. The Speaker's delegation is expected to continue engaging governors nationwide to build consensus and drive the proposed reforms forward. What do you make of this story? In the first instance, recall, I find it quite interesting that suddenly state houses of assembly appear to be waking up. Recall that this is not the first time that the National Assembly even attempted to make state houses of assembly autonomous from the executive or the state the state executives, as it were. And you remember, I don't know if you remember, QC, that of course the states had to vote. The state has to vote, and the first time it failed. The second time, I think River State was among the state houses of assembly that voted against legislative autonomy, and now they are now the ones championing their own autonomy. Interesting how this life goes. But then yeah, I'm interested to know your position on this.
Lauricia, just like you said, it's interesting how this life goes, but the state houses of assembly, by my estimation, they are in a sorry state. I don't envy them. I actually pity them. Why are we talking about state houses of assembly going cap in hand to governors to appeal for support? They are, as far as I'm concerned, they are seeking validation. Why should that be? The governor of a state, we are talking about the development of democracy. The governor of a state is not by any means or by any stretch of imagination higher than the State House of Assembly. Check the Constitution. The National Assembly, the president is not higher. The position of the president is not higher than that of the National Assembly because of the principle of separation of powers. Now, if that principle is actively in play, why would the State House of why would the speakers be going to governors for validation? But this is where we found ourselves. We are in a third world country, and everything is at the stage where we are hoping that by God's grace we can develop our democracy to the level where international best practices will be seen to be operational in our democracy, eh? Yes, as it were. So I think that the speakers, if they are serious with what they are doing, if they really want to engage, they can try. It's a good thing, given that we didn't have it before now. Just like you said, you saw a situation where the House of Assembly in certain states voted against legislative autonomy. Meanwhile, it was actually done to assist them. Let me tell you why they did that. I'll tell you why they did that. Because they did it because to them, in the first place, most of them don't win elections. They think that they will continue to feed that relationship, that maybe the governor helped them to
they voted against it so as not to go against
so as not to go against the governor at the time. You see, this thing it has a deeper meaning. It has a deeper meaning. There's a problem of electoral reform. There's a problem of fatherism, the fact that we cannot have fair, credible elections. And so when you come in there, you will have to respect the godfather that brought you in, and you have to pander to every demand of theirs, and whenever you be at their beck and call. We cannot. You see what has happened? Let me tell you what has happened. If you check, I just took the chance, I think like 3 minutes, the speaker that's been engaging, maybe he's a leader of the speakers forum or something like that. He's a young man. You know what do you know what that means? What that means is this: from 1999 to this day, if you check out the people who were assembly members in 1999, perhaps some of them were older or maybe about the same age, but at the time they were very naive. Do you understand? Now, but the nation must move forward, and to an extent now we have speakers who are beginning to think that they know what they should be doing, and so they are beginning to see, yes, why are we doing this? We are actually supposed to be autonomous. You know, that's what the Constitution makes. That's what the provisions of the Constitution spells out. So that is what is going on. Somehow we have moved, and the people are beginning to, some of the assembly members are beginning to think that this thing shouldn't be like this now. You know the situation that happened in River State, and you know, somehow, thank God, we have a truce now, and we are hoping that people will go about their businesses the way they should, you know, constitutionally speaking. So that's what is going on. The speakers are beginning to come up and to say
there appears to be an awareness.
An awareness, exactly. Exactly.
But probably one would say the issue with River State House of Assembly and the governor saying I recognize and acted in that way and held the State House of Assembly ransom for over a year. The issue of Lagos State House of Assembly playing out,
that has been in shambles.
There have been State House of Assemblies that had crises.
Pockets of
and you could see the influence of the governor removing the speaker or keeping the speaker, as it were. So probably there appears to be a reawakening.
Yes, a reawakening. They are beginning to realize themselves. Yes, that the government, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. You know these things are deep. If we want to begin to dissect this thing and go to the nitty-gritty of it, it's going to take time. There's a lot of things. Yeah. You know, when they do these things, we understand patronage. But why? Why is seeking validation?
Why is seeking the backing of the government?
Yes, when
there is a national
assembly
that they can actually write to.
And there is a constitution. And there is a constitution. And come on.
All right, very well. Churchill, you were once a councillor. Now, why would these people need the backing of governors in order to push for an amendment that
rightly
that
there.
has been brought up at the National
Okay,
Assembly.
let me confess. Something just came up my mind now. I remember the national confab that has not been implemented for so many years, and that national confab, Nigeria spent a lot of money to ensure that that national confab comes to play, and we don't know what is in it till now. Now, when you are talking about autonomy, yes, the reason why the National Assembly or the State Assembly is relying on governor is because it has been played. It has been playing on this one. They believe in the pari passoir, who working for you, who working for you. But they have forgotten that they are watchdog to the executive. They are watchdog. They make the law. They also monitor to see what is happening. But because the executive is the people in control of the finances, they are in control of the water.
Their salary.
They are in charge.
Everything.
That is the reason why they are very, very loyal to the executive. Because the executive will only give you the bread. You work for the bread. The executive will cut the bread for you.
Their existence is dependent on the executive.
Yes, just like when I was a councillor, my chairman called me on phone and asked me, who is the account officer of this council? I said, sir, is you. He said, who is in charge of the finances of this council? I said, sir, is you. You understand? But he says he will not pay me, and he didn't pay me because we had a challenge. You understand? So what is there is the executive they are in charge of what the legislative want. They have the finances of what they have, the bread of that the legislative wants. And even if you are going to say they are autonomy, they have their autonomy. Yeah. Are they having their own allocation direct from the federal?
But they voted against it when
that is when. Now, do you know why they voted against it?
Why?
Now they voted against it because they believe in the bread. Now, even if you want to make your own,
they voted against it because they believe in the bread.
They believe they believe in the relationship they have with the executive.
Yes. The executive.
The executive. Now that is what they fail to understand that. But even if they make their own budget, how would their budget look like? Because their budget cannot look like it can't look elaborate like the budget of the executive. It can't look very voluminous like the budget of the executive. And remember, the executive is made up of the governor, deputy, the commissioners, the cabinets. Now, those are the major executive. Now, in each of the executive, in each of the legislator, they lobby to have a representative of the executive that is very close to them. That is the major thing. Who can, if they are not there, who can stand for them in the executive arm? So they fail to understand the incunum of what is supposed to be their rights. They fail to understand their rights at the ab initio. That is the reason why they voted against the autonomy. Now, they have seen that the executive now is operating on that power to suppress them. They are now looking for the autonomy. But
so why then go to seek the backing of your oppressor?
Now, it can't. That is the reason why it can't work.
So you don't see this
autonomy. It can't work because you believe that the person you are going to fight, just like you need the person's support to fight him. It's not possible. But I was thinking, because we don't know the informations or the composition or composition of the confab. If we had seen that confab and it has come to play, it would have been something Nigeria would have stood on. Maybe that confab would have addressed most of these issues. But because the confab has not come to play, that is the reason why nobody knows. Because the constitution, Nigerian constitution, is not being they are not using Nigerian constitution rightly. They only use Nigerian constitution when they see the need to handle their own personal issues.
All right.
You understand? I don't want to digress to what happened in the announcement of state of emergency. You know, that constitution started playing. But the same constitution that would have addressed so many issues, both these insecurity issues and every other thing, would have been addressed if our constitution is being used in Nigeria.
All right, very well. Samuel, you wanted to say something?
I want to tell Honorable that the Constitution of the Federal Republic is in use. I think what the problem have been is like just like I said earlier. You see, a lot of people who were elected legislators, a lot of them were timid. Look, let me tell you, the truth is this. If now, following what the National Assembly did, if there was a state that voted against it, it means that the state governor lobbied them. That is the truth. Now, the question you should ask yourself as a legislator or a speaker that is in charge of, or the speaker of a state house of assembly, the question you should ask yourself is, why is the governor lobbying us? Why is he, okay, the governor lobbied. We know what lobby entails. Why is he doing this? That's number one. And then you ask yourself, the autonomy that the National Assembly is working to authenticate for the state houses of assembly, what does it entail? There is no legislator that will be poor if he is not working with a timid speaker or members of the State House of Assembly or even councillors. No, none of them. They should be doing well. But the problem is that most of them are timid and uninformed.
Yes.
When you know what to do. And so look, I wonder, I have been asking myself, I said, some of these people, when they meet the governor, what do they tell him? You can't tell me you're a State House of Assembly member when the governor will tell you, my friend, shut up and sit down. Come on. You're a State House of Assembly member, and the governor will tell you, my friend, shut up and sit down. No, it doesn't work that way. So if you do not, and I want to say this, especially young Nigerians, those who want to be members of the National Assembly, members of the State House of Assembly, even councillors, if you don't know what you are going to do there, just call somebody. You can do consultations. There are consultants. Some of us, we do that work. We can sit you down and tell you, look, you're going there as a councillor. Number one, look at what your statutory, what should be coming to you statutorily should be. But then, if you are able to build yourself, and your capacity is enhanced, you can always walk your way. The chairman, the governor, or the president should not. It happened between Bukola Saraki and President Buhari now. President Buhari didn't have cause to say, I will love you. Bukola Saraki will stand up, you will give us what belongs to us, and he will do it. But because if you don't do it, you will bring about constitutional crisis. They will have a way of holding you. There are some things you cannot do without the National Assembly. There are things the governor cannot do. They can choose to amend the constitution.
Okay. There is area I want to come in.
They're coming.
Now, do you know that the speakers of the assemblies are being nominated by the governors? Do you know?
No, I don't.
And that has been the problem.
No, excuse me, sir.
Because every governor,
can I?
You understand? Every governor does not play.
Now, all these things are embedded in legislative autonomy.
Yes. Now,
because if legislative autonomy should pass, it means that the influence of the state executive will be whittled down.
Will be whittled down.
In the activities.
That means they will not know anything that happens with nomination of who becomes the speaker.
They can have
the implication of legislative autonomy is
Yes.
that the executive arm of government, of state government, may not even have influence in appointing who
Stay on your lane. Stay on your lane.
Right.
And that is the reason why.
It makes sense that the executive will have a hand in who
becomes speaker.
Like, well.
And principal officers of the house.
But that has been what has been playing in Nigeria.
That is the wrong thing that's been happening.
Just like the executive will determine who the head of the judiciary will be.
That is it.
I mean, so
it has been like that, and the executive will not allow it to play down.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out this time around. Because now there is an awakening.
Yeah.
Let's say the police.